Таня, Таня. Okay, I think we can smoothly start. All many people are here. Okay, record is also turned on. Thank you, Lesia. Okay, let's start. So today is, hello everybody. Today is an introductory meeting for the training cluster project management excellent program, or simply cluster pilot program. So my name is Alexander Yurchak. I'm CEO of Ukrainian Cluster Alliance, and today we'll be with our colleagues from foreign colleagues, Kurt Nielsen, Robert Fujdyar. So we will present you the program and talk a bit about your expectation, program scope, about schedule. So all typical stuff we need just to launch, not to launch the program. So today our program is split by short introductory. We'll talk. I start with explanation of task objectives, expectation from our side. Then we will be work group, working groups in small groups to better understand your competencies and values. And then maybe Kurt and Robert will explain the scope of the program. This is our, let's say, program for today. Well, I think we are already more than 30 people. That's good. So it means that, yeah, in general, we had more than 70 registration, but we selected just 35 people. And yeah, so of course, our criteria were about, of course, English, because there will be no translation. And of course, this is like first criteria to understand each other and go through the program. But also your motivation, your experience. Typically, this program oriented for a project manager who already has have some experience in facilitation working group, in project management, in cluster management, and so on. So that's why we selected less than half of those who were registered. Everybody read this our announcement because you are registered. So typically we want to build as it's written, next generation of cluster, but not just cluster. We work also with European Digital Innovation Hub. There are several people from this structure which UCA manage. And also the main, let's say, initiator and leader of this training is our project Cluster for Regions. This project aims to create a cluster policy in six regions of Ukraine. And we met the same problem we had before in many clusters of Ukrainian Cluster Alliance, and today we have in European Digital Innovation Hub, Kiev High Tech, which just starts these days, this month, because agreement was signed with European Commission last month. So what are these challenges? As you see this list, typically we have difficulty how to facilitate effective working group, especially how to move them to quick some result outcomes, like funding. Funding is especially crucial for our clusters. Also, how to maintain, how to keep engagement and ownership among the participants, because typically, for example, in the project like Cluster for Region, we created last year a big working group up to 10, 20 people, but only one or two of them really worked on policy, on policy level. Or what I said, this is really very important today in many cluster of Ukraine Cluster Alliance, how to transform the expert discussion to real project initiative and which lead to some funding. Also, we have many multi-stakeholder initiatives, very complex. It's really an issue how to coordinate and so on. Briefly, we're talking about how to increase the ability to transform working group into of organization to effective working team, collaborative project and sustainable ecosystem. This is like what was sent to you, like the main description of this training. So what we expect in 1 month or maybe a bit later, not in 1 month, but anyway, we want to establish like new skill set, like you say, standard for our cluster mentors, project manager, facilitator. We really want to create effective working group which is based on trust. Trust is very important notion, and we'll talk a lot about how to build trust. And by the way, Robert, Kurt, Jan and me, we belong to community which was created by Kurt Nielsen, Trust Mediator. So I think Kurt will talk more about this community initiative. Another outcome expected is especially crucial for a Cluster for Region project. Of course, this is the objective in a Cluster for Region project, to create new cluster and inter-cluster project initiative. Yes, because it will be promoted this autumn in several steps to funding. Also in this project, we create regional project office. And so there is a task how to create effective project pipeline and so on. So I will not read every line. Sorry, it's something go wrong. Yeah. So regarding your skills, you will learn how to really the main topic, like first this line, we'll learn how to create, facilitate effective working group, transfer work group into the project, coordinate multi-cluster initiative partnership, and so on. What was written. Regarding the main rules and your commitments. So I saw that some of you, your names, first names written still on Ukrainian. Please change it to you know this option how to rename. So change on English. We ask you also to always turn on your camera. Of course, we expect during these 5 workshops your regular visit. Because we will have these 5 workshops. So we'll start 2nd of July at the same time, 4 p.m. Eastern European time, Ukrainian time. Of course it's better if you know exactly your objective, let's say in 3 months, what you want to achieve. Regarding regarding these challenges I just name it. We'll have some homework and we expect of teamwork. If I forget something, Kurt, please remind me what we expect from our side. It's okay?
Yeah, that's okay. We will get back to some details later.
Okay. So I already said we have 2 main trainer and mentor, Kurt Nielsen and Robert Fujar. So you can read about them on our website, announcement of this training. But maybe Kurt and Robert will say a few words more about them themselves. So this is briefly about my part and my introduction from my side. So I expect that English, of course it's European English, it will be understood, for most of our participants. Anyway, if you you have any question, some stuff is not very clear, you can ask. So do not shame to ask your question in chat, or we can repeat something and so on, because we understand, and it was like criteria of selection. We selected also people with well, different level of English, of course, not very beginners, but some of you might have some difficulty with English. So do not shy to ask or write your question in the chat, because it's clear that we have a lot of different people. Any question for me regarding the task and objective of this training, his nature or origin? So once again, we have like 3 categories of manager in this group from Ukrainian side, or even maybe more. So one category is cluster manager and cluster project manager with some experience in project management. Yeah, this is one category. Some of them also belong to the group of this official project, with really our sponsor. This is cluster for regions, yeah, which supported by Switzerland's Swiss project called UCORD. UCORD is project how to support regional community and create regional policy in Ukrainian regions. Yeah, we have other clusters and cluster manager in this group which do not belong to this project, but anyway, this is the same, they have the same problem there, because it's online. We invited them as well. We have some manager from a project of European Digital Innovation Hub, which just start ED Kyiv High Tech. And some other people which may be our partner just joined us. This is, let's say, who is presented here. Of course, before we thought that it would be possible for each to introduce himself or herself, but as we are more than 30 people, it's almost impossible. But I think anyway, we will introduce each other after, during workshop, in small working group, during presentation, and so on. So I finished. Kurt, the floor is yours, please.
All right, thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to participate in this, and hopefully produce something good out of it. We will get back to a little bit later on who we are, etc. But for now, I just wanted to say that we have been working very closely with Ukraine from before the war started. I was in Lviv just before and got to know a lot of people, and some of the people on board here today have also been teaching and lecturing together with me at the Kiev National Economic University. So we do have some background. We unfortunately don't speak Ukrainian, so and I sort of think it's too late in life for me to start learning it. But anyway, that can be changed. We are just going to give you a quick overview and then jump out in these small groups. We're following sort of, for a meeting like this, we are following a couple of disciplines that are known when you want to start communities, and the thing is always about to get people to know each other and get people involved. So that's why the discussion is, should we jump directly into the small groups, or should we give you a little bit of introduction? But I want to give you a little bit of introduction. That's my choice. I hope it works. So with that, let me just share the screen, and we'll get back to some details later on. And here's the front page for today. So it's called Cluster Excellence Program. This is the introduction meeting, and we're talking about cluster pilots, and we'll get back to that in a moment. Why do we talk about that? The purpose of this session, the process of the workshops, what is it? And this session here is, of course, to introduce the participants to each other, to the trainers, and a little bit to the content. Now, and I want to take it in that order, because building clusters or networks or communities, it doesn't work if people don't choose to get involved, open up about themselves, get to know the others, and develop that relationship. It really doesn't work top down. It has to be that. So therefore, if we misunderstand something, and if you have better sort of cultural input of how to do it, by all means, raise your hand and let's figure it out. It's the most important thing in this process, and also afterwards. So we want to discover what this group can do together. And maybe we actually end up with two groups who can do different things, or three, who knows. But what is it that we can do together? So we want to talk about what resources do each of us bring to the table. Therefore, we gave you the homework of thinking about your competency matrix. What is it actually I can do? And also the values of what you want to, what aspirations, what is it I want in this? Another thing with building communities is there has to be a balance of the individual and the collective. It has to be that we contribute in order to do something together, but each person should also experience, I'm actually getting something I like out of this. It has to be there, otherwise it slowly dies. Then we want to collect some things that we can actually achieve and do. It's called a product backlog, a list of things we want to achieve. And we want to hear your input. Obviously, we have planned somewhat, so we have an idea about what the 5 sessions should be about. We have our backlog, but we want to hear what your input is, so that we can merge it and provide best possible value. And then we agree on next steps. We use this picture here. We say this is a craft. This is not just a theoretical thing. This is a craft where you actually learn on the road. Now, I don't know if this works in Ukraine, if you have the same thing, but here, in the old days, someone became an apprentice and learned a certain trade or craft. And then, once they were finished with apprentices, they got a piece of paper documenting, and then they went out to become a journeyman. Or in Danish, it's called more or less a walkabout. And that meant that they down to Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and learned from different masters, doing different things on the way. They could come back and be the master. So we're using this image for the cluster pilot here. And I'll just show you the large version here. And just for the fun of it, I want to ask if anybody can spot mistakes. This is AI generated, so obviously there are mistakes. Can you spot a mistake?
Don't be shy. I didn't spot it either.
Prentice.
Wow. Now, this is not just a game. I mean, we're not going to spend the whole day looking for this, but I thought it was pretty funny that actually, have you ever seen a tool like that? Completely crazy. Never seen a tool like that. Okay. Now, I won't waste your time now, but I actually, when I did this with AI, and I thought, no, that was impressive. And there was this mistake here. But then it said, I can make a video for you of this. And I said, oh, yeah, please go ahead. And I'll keep that till next session, because that's a little appetizer for you. For the next session, you get to see the video and you get to see how crazy, absolutely bonkers it is. And so there's a warning for you with AI. But you'll see the video next time. Now you know that. What we did here is we want to think about that, and the process of the workshops is to complete the apprentice leg of the journey. And then after that, those of you who do this, you go out in real life, and then you have to become what is called in English the journeyman, the one on the road actually doing stuff, learning from different situations. So what we're going to do in the workshops is we're going to give you an understanding of the basic dynamics of teams and collaboration. That's actually both Robert and Yanni and my background. This is working with teams. I have for 20 years worked with Agile, Lean, Scrum, and teaching teams and collaboration in teams and organizations. So we start from the simple end, just to get a team working. Because whatever we do with clusters and inter-cluster projects, it only gets more and more complex. So we have to have the simple tools ready before we go to the really complex stuff. And then we want to talk a lot about trust. And I won't dive into it now, but this is sort of at least my main topic right now, working on preserving trust in these times where trust is rapidly disappearing in the world. And there's two ways to work with people, either through trust or you having power over them. I vote for trust. And we need trust if clusters are going to work, because these are independent units. You can't do that with power. And then we talk about how clusters are different from teams and companies, because there are differences, and some of the reasons that clusters also here in Denmark have not been very effective is because they have been treated like teams inside a company. And that is not exactly true. Because inside a company, you can expect everybody to have more or less the same goal. After all, they're in the same company, so we expect that. But you can't expect that in a cluster, because there are independent units that have their own things. And so the question becomes, where do we find the overlap and the common synergy effects? So it's slightly different. And then the cluster pilot. Why is it that we are talking about a cluster pilot? And the pilot is the person entering a ship in difficult water, standing next to the captain, helping him. And he's not the captain, and he doesn't do the work, but he's giving good advice. And he says, "I've seen this before. I would not go over there if I were you," etc. The cluster pilot is necessary, and we'll talk about that a lot. Clusters die if there is no one to guide them, because everybody's so busy with everything. Not necessarily out of evil intent, but they're just too busy. And then it sort of dies, and it's like there is a rule of thumb that this engagement we have has a half-life of about a month. After a month, the engagement is down to 50%. So if we don't do it more regularly, we just lose it. And we forgot about it, and we can then do it all over again. Then when we scale cluster initiatives up to really big initiatives within a cluster, with many work groups, or out, when we scale out to multiple clusters, that's another level of complexity that we're going to talk about. And then we're going to talk a lot about the tools and the practices. And we hope to make it practical, although this would be much, much easier if we were together in person. Well, we're going to make our best effort to try and do it here and try to come up with something that works online. After all, we do have now about 6 years experience in trying to accomplish some of this online. It's still hard, but it can be done. So there are some artifacts. How do we collaborate? How do we show different boards, different tools, estimation, prioritization in portfolio, cluster readiness assessment, a lot of these things. And then we hope that you who participate here, or definitely those who start participating on Thursday, are willing to become a team of cluster pilots to help on the journeyman leg when you go out in the real world. We will still be here to support you, but the initiative is on your side then. We can discuss at the end of the 5 sessions how we're going to continue. We would certainly like to help, and some of it we can volunteer and do pro bono. If it's a lot, okay, we also need to pay bills, so we need to discuss funding once again, the unpleasant topic of money. But we're certainly here to help you going forward, so that when you get out and do things with real clusters and say, "Oh, I never thought we had that situation," maybe we know about it, or at least there is a discussion partner. So here we are. I won't read an awful lot. from this, you get the PDF afterwards, but I would invite Robert to just say a few words about himself if he wants to.
Well, hello everybody again. Thank you for having me. We've been working with Kurt for I don't know how many years already. And as Kurt mentioned, we've been in Ukraine before, in Lviv, actually like 2 months before the war started. So we had like a connection there and wanted to continue doing some pro bono work and doing some work for you guys. So the background we both have is from something that's called agile coaching, and it really ties into what we are going to show you, how to facilitate the clusters. So I hope that we might be of any help to you guys in your daily lives and daily jobs.
Thanks. Yeah, and Yanni is a part of our Trust Mediator group as well. Julia and Victoria, who are also here, I want to recommend those ladies to you, that they have been very instrumental in delivering this kind of training, not focused on clusters, but on teams and collaboration to students at Kiev National Economic University. If any of you want to chime in and say something extra here, please feel free.
Yeah, hello everybody. Thank you for introducing me, Kurt. Yeah, I would be happy to help with anything I can and assist and talk and discuss everything with participants if they want to help to achieve the goals. Thank you, man.
Yeah. All right. So the agenda for today, more or less, that's what we talked about. But we will now jump out in small groups. There's a lot of concepts about how you build community, how you get people together. One of the partners in Trust Mediators is a lady from Kharkiv, and she's done some research into the degradation of trust in communities among ordinary people. And how do you get people together and find common purpose and something they can do? One of the keys here is what is called a framing question. It starts by asking each other when we get together what's called a framing question. And the ones we would like you to think about today is, how would it look in 3 years' time if we are successful in creating these clusters? How would it look if I get my aspirations, the thing I would like to, in this cluster leadership fulfilled? So we're going to jump out in these breakout rooms, and Licia, I hope she's here. She is going to create the rooms. We're going to make them with 5 individuals in each room, and I will send you a link now.
Yes, I think we need 8 rooms. Maybe.
All right. Yeah. And so that's a lot. And so now here's the first test for you guys. Are you able to agree on working in this group that you get thrown into? This requires some trust. This is actually called transient trust, because maybe you don't have the time to get to know each other. This is like if you get sent to the front and you're out there in a ditch, and there's an immediate trust because you have to. This is a test also. One of the things I'd like to is, now I'll send you a link in the chat. Let me just see where that is. It's here. That's what we use in our as a simple tool in our online trainings. We use Google Slides, so everyone can get in there, and I see people already coming in. You see it up at the top. Alexander was there for a moment, yes. And so what I want to ask you, when you get out into the groups, each group take a copy of this slide here, slide number 4. Give it a name of your team, of your agree on team, and then fill it out. then start filling it out. So we didn't know how many people there were, so we couldn't prepare. So okay, so you have to do some work yourself. That's again the cluster spirit. We're not here to do the work for you. You have to do it. So so you take a copy, and the 5 of you in each team discuss the framing questions. Then you start, and maybe I hope you've done your competency matrix and your value matrix, so you already have prepared something that you can tell the others. You don't have to tell us right now, but tell the others, discuss with each other, and then talk about what are the objectives that we want to achieve. What are the commonalities? This is what, based on what we've already said about the questions, can we identify things we would like to achieve? These are things that we should achieve then in the program. And then also try and talk to each other. Who are we? What competencies and what experiences do we bring to the table? Experimentally or empirically, people have found that this way of starting a community is the best way we know right now. That is to get people to not focus on the differences or the difficulties, but say, okay, we're in this situation. What is it actually that we can do, and what do we actually have of resources to the table? So you do that. You simply take a copy of this one and you start working on it. Any questions about this? Anything, Robert? Maybe I forgot to say something, but
Just to encourage all the groups, don't forget that you have to agree who's going to create a slide and who's going to name the group.
Yeah, that's the first test. Yeah. So, yeah. Any other ideas? I think Robert and I will probably stay out of the groups, and so will Yanni. If we get thrown in there, we will exit again because we don't speak Ukrainian, and you should feel absolutely free to speak Ukrainian. And of course, you can also write in Ukrainian if you want to. We'll get it translated later. Then the thing is here that you should have the best opportunity to get to know each other and share this with each other. This doesn't have to be the teams we're going to continue from next Thursday. We will do something similar, but this is sort of just for now.
Yeah, I'll just translate everybody to be clear that situation is understood. Колеги, ми зараз розіб'ємось на невеличкі групи. Леся, скільки ми зробимо кімнат? Може 8 це забагато? 7 краще?
Не більше 5 людей, якщо
не більше 5,
влізеш.
ну добре. І тоді ви знайомитесь, ну якщо ви не знайомі в групах, і відповідаєте на ці питання, для цього треба скопіювати цей слайд. Окей, зрозуміло. Якщо в групі тільки українці, ви можете дискутувати українською, ну але бажано відповіді записати англійською.
Угу. І ми вручну розкидаємо учасників, оскільки треба залишити в
рендом,
групі.
да, рендом робимо.
Рендом?
Да, рендом, чисто запускай рендом, да. Окей.
Все, тоді я запускаю групи, да.
So if you start the groups and I propose 15 minutes. If you are done before, come back and we may close down the rooms before if it turns out. You never know. But 15 minutes seems appropriate. 3 minutes for each person to talk in a way. I think that will work. Let's try that, Lesia.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just stay here and drink coffee while you're all out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was everybody invited in the breakout room?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I see some of the people are joining from the phone, so maybe they are still fighting to click the proper button.
Yeah.
And yes, we are left here with the read assistants.
Таке може бути, що хтось себе не знаходить чи ні, бо я щось себе не бачилася.
А ви, може, як організатор не отримали
Я
запрошення?
як війшов як хост. Ну, добре, я тоді будь-якої групи приєднаюся, да, окей.
Угу.
Okay. As there are the last people, I mean, maybe I will join to...
Я бачу, що частина людей нікуди не приєдналась взагалі, тобто не
Тоді
відреагувала.
їх вручну приєднують, да.
Ні, в сенсі, що вони, що вони, мабуть, просто не присутні. Ну.
Yeah, it's like people in gray, so not join it.
Yeah.
It's right. Okay, I will try to join number 5.
All right. Well, this is always the case, but anyway, Robert and Yanni, you got a chance. Well, you did meet before, so this is not the first time. Interesting. This just got bigger and bigger. It started with 10 people. So apparently a lot of people jumped on it, and of course it's an indication of that there are people who actually want to do this in Ukraine. So I guess that's a good start.
Very good.
Hopefully we don't have too many bots. I've seen so many AI assistants that I cannot make a sense who's actually a living person and who's the AI assistant.
No, that's so far. In the other meetings, I've started to kick out those that don't have cameras on, because you never know who it is.
Well, fair enough. I would not do it here.
No, it's not my meetings. I'm not doing it here, but
yeah, you need some way of knowing
yeah,
who's the right person.
Oh,
I see that they already copied several instances.
So actually, this is a problem, because there are some people who can't get in because there can only be 20. So we ran into a limitation here.
Are you joking?
On the document, or I can jump out.
No, yeah. The document is.
I left the document. I opened it. I don't need it. So you need just one from each group to be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm writing to them. Victoria, maybe you can visit. Can you choose the room yourself?
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure it out how it works, and I cannot see how to choose the room, because the first one we were together with you. It was you that the same one that was weird.
Let me see if I can make you co-host, because then you can probably jump around. Let's see. Victoria. No, I can't. I'm not the host, so. Okay, that's I can assign you. Let's see.
Maybe.
See, where are you? Which room were you in?
We're
Victoria,
in the
yeah.
room 5.
I put you somewhere else now.
Okay.
Robert, that is, by the way, a new restriction that Google has introduced, because I'm absolutely positive that I have done at least 25 before.
I was thinking that I never seen this limitation before.
No.
Yeah, the more reason to jump into some free software.
Yeah. So I didn't keep track of the time, so I hope she's doing that, our host.
I think it's about 10 minutes now.
10 minutes gone or left?
Gone.
Okay. There are people working, so that's good.
So it looks like we're gonna need some translation. All of the slides are in Ukrainian.
Yeah, but that's that'll be okay.
Did you notice the message from Nazar?
Yes, good day. I'm sorry,
Hello,
Mr.
Nazar.
Kurt. I have some problem with connection, and can you add me to some group, please? If it's possible.
Yeah, it should be.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the problem with Zoom. As soon as people lose their connection, they lose their room. So this has been really a problem in Ukraine with flaky internet. Sometimes people calling in from coffee shops and what have you. So she's not answering, and time seems to be going. I think we've spent our quarter now. So,
Would say so. Do you have a way to message all the groups at once?
yes, I have a broadcast possibility, and I've asked Lisa at our back channel, the signal, but she doesn't answer.
Yeah.
So
let's give them last.
I give them.
Maybe just give them 1 minute to finalize.
Yeah.
So then
I give them a couple of minutes, because as soon as I press stop, then it will take it 1 minute, and I'll just write to everybody now.
Good.
So I'll go back to the old way.
Old way is the gold way.
Of course, I should have one of those old mechanical.
Yeah, you should have a egg wash.
Yeah.
As they call it, pomodoro in Italy.
Yeah, pomodoro. Yeah. So Victoria, I have to know what Sakamotos mean on your shirt.
Oh, I have literally no idea. I just like the colors of the t-shirt.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah. Yeah, there was a picture circulating the internet a while ago with a little Chinese girl with they love pink. We have Chinese students here. The girls love pink, so they have this pink T-shirt and with print on it, and on the print it says "fuck you." And then the text was, "I'm getting mixed signals here." Very cute little girl, and
But I remember when I went to Japan that there was all sorts of weird English words on the T-shirts, and I was like asking them, why they didn't make sense. Most of it, I was just like, they just put it when they liked the word. They didn't care what the meaning was. It was just nice words. So, and I think probably most Europeans have tried the same with Chinese signs. We don't know what, we just think it looks nice, so it's the same.
Yeah. That's the same with the logo we used, was the Japanese one for house, but that was pretty obvious. So, okay, then we'll come back in 40 seconds or something. So.
Did you start the countdown for the breakout?
Yeah. So they will be here in 30 seconds. All of them now. Okay, we're back. I hope I didn't just throw you out of your meeting, but time is ticking. So, yeah, the next step here is I think I'll just stop the camera. I'm not sure if everyone can share the screen if they want to. Lisa, is that configured so that
I think everyone
can present if they want to?
Yes.
Okay. Well, good. Let's just take a few moments and those of the groups of the rooms that wanted to tell the rest of us something. Did you discover something important? What was the important part? Just you don't necessarily have to go through all of it, but just what are the highlights? Did you discover something important? Anybody wants to contribute, please?
There is a comment. We developed a solution where each slide was copied to the master deck by the team number. So you can scroll through the master slide you created.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. No reports from the discussions? Or?
Yes, I think most of people know each other.
Okay.
So in particular in our groups, there was no big discovery because people talk about traditional rather stuff. But maybe in other group, please do not shame to raise your hand or just to comment.
All right, then. I mean, you can always come back and interrupt again. We don't want to make this too much of a pain. Not that everybody sort of has to be on the spot. When we get into the meetings or the sessions, the 5 sessions in July, I really hope that those who participate are willing to do this. Both Victoria and Julia can confirm that we had a bit of an uphill struggle with the students in Kiev this spring to get them even to turn on their camera or to participate. And it hadn't worked if it hadn't been for Victoria and Julia, who could sort of tell the students a few specific words in Ukrainian that was shaking them up. So that's good. But as we move forward, please bear in mind that we would really like to see this. So let me just go back to share a screen. I want to, before we do the last bit, I want to give you a little bit of overview of the model for this training, for this, the way we look at clusters. And so I want to show you a couple of graphs here and just briefly talk about it. This is sort of how can you think about what are clusters? And one of the reasons I believe, and I've seen a lot of documents from Alex also, and from experiences here, one of the reasons that clusters actually don't work or they don't produce the results you want is everybody are very nice and polite and say they agree, and they don't. They have different ideas about what they want. This is actually the same reason why a lot of transformation in big company failed. Everybody say, big poster, yeah, this is our goal, this is what we want. And then they go out and they do conflicting things because they never really got there. So we need to have a mental model of what we're talking about. And let me just try and give you a couple of ideas of the reference, the frame we're going to work from. So the first step when people want to get together, we could call that coffee clutch. That's American slang. It's actually Yiddish slang from New York Jews, and that's when you get together just for a coffee. So that's a coffee klatsch. You just get together, informal meeting. You talk, you learn something very nice. Maybe we'll meet again. That's okay, absolutely fine. But sometimes then you take one step up, and you now have a reactive network where we formally agree on that we are here to explore, for example, the use of AI, or how to get away from Google and Microsoft and onto a European IT platform, or some other, building up knowledge. We are researching, we are presenting, so we're sharing knowledge, we're building knowledge together, a formal competence development. And there you already hear, for this to be efficient, you should consider having a pilot or a pilot team. The next step up here is what we call a reactive cluster, number 1. And that's where, that's where, as Alex started with, now we come to the level where we agree to do projects together. So this is one step up. We're not just developing information, we're actually doing something. There's a deliverable, there's something that has to be done, and we start relying on it. That, of course, increases, as you can see on the left axis here. All of that, every step requires more trust, more commitment. And to some extent, also a bit more discipline. There has to be local trust in the area. Let's say we do a project about an agricultural cluster that wants to do a project about marketing to Scandinavia of agricultural products. Okay, that requires trust within that area of the members. One step up, number 2, reactive cluster. Now we actually have a service, a persistent service that we share. We have some people that are doing something for us in the background. I'll show you the next picture, then it becomes clearer. And that's another level of trust. And then one step up, now we actually are together in the market, where we have a common marketing effort. And that is important, more important, because now we're out there in the open, and if we fail, it affects all of us, and it affects my business seriously, not something I can hide behind the curtains. And that's now proactive, because we're out doing things. So we move from reactive to proactive. And the next one here, there we actually, as a bunch of companies, we integrate our value streams. That requires really strong trust and commitment. And then finally, you might move to a cooperative, but that's sort of outside this discussion, where you have some need of formally owning things. That, for example, if you want to do big capital investments, you're an agricultural cluster, and you need to buy a big machine together or something and share it. That could be the reason for going there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kurt, if I may interrupt you, because this is very important, because in Ukrainian Cluster Alliance, we have a variety of all this level. So maybe this is my question to our participant. Please tell me who is in upper level, because you know we analyze it, we summarize our best practice through Ukrainian Cluster Alliance, and you may recognize some clusters which are at the level of like proactive, when they have integrated value stream, or even we have cluster which even create investment fund. Yeah, this is like a cooperative level. Can you tell me which cluster are this one? We also have like a level 0 or 1 coffee clutch. We just told with someone that we have, let's say, cluster organization called cluster, but where there is no membership fees. Not just because they are so poor, just because they don't have trust, enough trust to management, to this organization. Колеги, будь ласка, я не знаю, чи ця картинка всім зрозуміла, але це дійсно дуже важливо розуміти, що в нас, як такої найбільшої кластерної ком'юніті в Україні, є всі рівні. І там умовно десь є щось посередині, але в нас є ті, що вверху справа, і є багато таких, що внизу зліва. І в чому унікальність того, що ми будемо вивчати, що, виявляється, ці всі речі базуються на довірі. І як створювати цю довіру? Yeah, sorry, because this is really important for us. Any comments? Please give us your feedback if you really agree with that.
There's a thumbs up. Always good to see that. All right. I mean, this is the last frame here says every step is okay to stay at if it makes sense in the context of the actual cluster. There are some clusters they don't need to go beyond that. That's where they want to be. And so it's not that you have to feel that you have to push it up always. Maybe it's okay where you are. Don't overcomplicate it, because every step does require more trust, more commitment, more discipline. And again, we're going to repeat that later on. The purpose here is not to cluster. It's not to do the cluster thing. It is to create the value for the members. That's what counts. I mean, we can very easily just invent another discipline, and it feels good that we do all the things left, right, and center, and very poor results. That's not what we're going for. So it really, that's going to be the whole drive in this, is we focus on what makes value for the members, what creates value for the members. So let me give you another view of it. This is one way of drawing it. Some people like this one, some people like the other one here, which is sort of the same terminology, coffee clutch. That can lead to a reactive network where we work on these competencies, and each organization contributes some resources to work on these competencies, and we require simple trust, a simple charter. It's very easy. It can be on the back of a napkin, what we agree to do here. Common competence, for the simple allocation of people. If we're doing it together, it's not that important. If I can't participate, then Robert can, or Yanni can, or so on. And cadence, less than or equal to 4 weeks. Remember, if you don't repeat things within 4 weeks, it drops. There's simply an experience that a lot of people have had. It is a good idea to have at least one pilot, but also in other circumstances, they call this the core group. There has to be a group of people that holds this up, make it happen, take responsibility for making it happen. Then we can move further to the reactive cluster type 1. Now we have real projects with deliverables. And I won't talk about all of this once again, because you already heard it. Trust goes up, commitment goes up. And then we move into the number 2, where we have this common service behind the wall. Each organization actually uses something that we have created together. And a fun fact is, I discovered teaching this in Norway, in Oslo, the capital, there are a bunch of small theaters. And the theaters don't have the workshop individually. They can't afford it. So they have a common workshop hidden somewhere in a back street that produces all the illustrations and all the costumes, etc., for all of them. But we customers, we don't know that that's behind. So that's a definite step up, and it requires again more coordination. You probably now need some operational coordination, which could be the same as the pilot team, but you are going to experience operational challenges now, because now you're actually delivering. All right, now you really need a pilot team. So then we move forward to number 3, where we have one in front. The theaters in Oslo actually have that because they sell tickets together. They can't afford to have individual websites, so they have a common ticket portal where you can buy tickets. And of course, that now it's really important, because if that fails, my business fails. So it's more important than the back office, which you probably could hide for the public, but here you're out in the open, everything is visible, and again, it goes up. And then finally, we go to the proactive cluster, where you weave it in one big value stream. And during the preparation for this, Alex Jurchak sent me to various people that I talked to. And there was one guy, I don't know if you are here today, Ivan, but he told me how he moved his business from Kharkiv, where they were bombed, and into the center of Ukraine, together with other companies. And they ended up being in an area, 7 or 8 companies, doing exactly this proactive cluster number 4, and probably moving into shared ownership of things which would make them into a cooperative. But and so it happens, and this happened more or less spontaneously, I would say. Well, of course they were thinking about it, and I said to Ivan, that is very impressive what you have done. Can we please? Can you do it? Can we please write your story down, because that's an important story to learn from. Very impressive what you've done. And he said, in a way, I would say typically Ukrainian, he said, yes, we had to, otherwise we die. All right, yeah, I get it. You had to. And that's, of course, that's it. So this is then another way of drawing the same thing. Now, I want to say something that I'm probably going to say a lot during our courses here. That is, this is a model. All models are wrong. Reality is not like this, but some models are useful. And this gives us some categories to talk about and say, are we here or are we here? And what does it take to go from here to there? So instead of having confusion in the clusters, you now get a common picture to look at and sort of go and point, and we are here, we want to go there. That helps a lot at every level. So that's more or less what I wanted to say here. I just changed the order a little bit before we started. So some of this here actually is what I said before. But and then I'd like us to take a little bit of time. We don't have to go out in the work groups again, but I would like you to go back to slide number 3 here. And again, I apologize. We just discovered, both Robert and I have not seen it before, that Google has a limitation. There can't be more than 20 people in the one document. Google have put that limitation on. I'm sorry about that. But go here, and then based on the discussions you've had, then you should just make copies of the virtual posters. Take a blue one or an orange one. The blue ones we call objectives. Objectives are things you really want to have. Maybe you don't know how to get it yet, but I would like this and this and that objective. We color code those as blue. The orange one is, I would like to have such a deliverable. I would like to do this, try this, or have this. And that's actionable. The blue ones are not actionable yet. We have to talk about how to do it then. So they are the why. The orange ones are the what. So I encourage you to go there, and if you have something to say, okay, based on this, I would like us to achieve. Maybe you already said it on the other slides, but this is called backlog gathering. Backlog is a list of everything we want to have, but we don't have yet. And that's what we're going to use during the 5 sessions. So please fill in if you have something you said, I would really like that we discuss this and this and that, or I would like to know how that fits together with OKRs, objectives and key results, or whatever it might be that you feel is important. We have some ideas, but what matters is, of course, what you need. We need to. So please fill something in if you want here. We'll just keep it here, and if there are things popping up, we'll discuss it on the fly, and we'll use it starting next Thursday. So go ahead, type something in if you want to. You can also write in the chat, and then we will collect that and put it in.
So we don't do it as a group, but just all together, the same slide?
Yeah, yeah. Whoever has something to say, I would like that, just go in and type it in, and,
okay.
and we will collect them. And you can just make copies of them by right-clicking, copy, paste, Control-C, Control-V. All right. Build something physical. Or any further explanation to that?
There's already a little bit of competition for the notes. So
yeah.
Make sure you're writing in just yours and not overwriting somebody else's.
Yeah. Learn how to build trust and strong connections between business authorities and universities. Great. That's something we really want to focus on. And so let's see how it develops. We're going to start with that on next Thursday. And while you're still thinking about this is actually what we're going to do, just briefly, every time we start up. Every session, we're going to look back on the previous session. Okay, how did that go? What did we learn? What can we do better? And then also says, anything new happened that we think should on the backlog. We're going to repeat that every week to try and make the process itself a learning experience, an interactive and iterative learning experience. All right. Let's leave it like that. We are coming up towards the end of the hour, or the bottom of the hour, as they say. Let's just do the rest of this, and I'm sure Alexander also has something to say at the end, and then we will have a little bit of questions and answers at the very end. So this is how the plan looks currently for the 5 sessions. Number 1, next Thursday, we're going to go from groups of experts to teams. So we're going to cover the benefits of real teams. And behind that is the difference between groups of experts and teams is that teams actually trust each other. They operate independently. If you talk to the special forces in the army, that's how they all operate. We've talked to people who've been in those in Ukraine, but also on the trainings we've done, we've had from the special forces here in Denmark, in Norway, and they all say the same thing about this is how we work already. And we want to reflect that, and so we have an understanding. What are the practices of collaborating in teams? And there's a lot of lessons that we can learn from the last 20 years that we have, that I have worked with that, and Robert for 10 or 12 or something like that. Yanni also for multiple years. So what are the practices? Number 2, we're going to look more into that step curve or the, whichever drawing you prefer that I showed before, the life cycle. So what does it take to go from one to the other? What should be in place to stay at this level? How can we, and Alexandra put it in one of the early conversations, can we judge or assess, see the readiness? We look at a cluster. Are they ready to go to the next level or not? If they're not ready, it might be a waste of time trying to push them. So have they taken a step up, for example, on the trust level? And we have some ways of identifying what the trust levels are. So how do they develop? And what practices do we have in these clusters and initiatives, which is one level more complex than teams, for producing maximum benefit? And now we come to something that will include multiple teams. So this is a larger initiative, a larger project. We have to improve the transparency, because now it's not only our little group that has to be able to see what's going on. The others have to see, not in absolute detail, but they have to see quite a lot. And how do we decide when multiple people? How do we avoid that people started banging heads like two billy goats? Of course, this includes another level. And we're going to discuss again, there has to be more trust and more transparency. And with that follows also more discipline. One of the things, for example, as soon as you are outside the small team, there has to be more discipline about honoring your commitments. If I ask another team to do things, I won't see them every day. And therefore, we have to honor agreements stronger. There has to be more discipline. As long as we're in a team and we work together every day, it's not a big deal. Said, did you remember what I told you? Just going out for coffee or something? No, sorry, yeah, I'll get it done. That doesn't work when you're bigger. Therefore, more discipline. And we have to be very careful when we introduce more structure, more discipline, that we don't kill the innovation and the power of maneuvering. That's the whole trick.
It's a whole balance in between. Sorry, Kurt. I just wanted to add that this is the whole balance in between the startup-ish operations, when you have the courage and you want to change something, and on the other side, you would have your corporate bureaucracy when you kill the innovation just by making all the processes. Yep. So we have to find the balance in the clusters to still be able to commit and to track what we are committed to. So, we can just leave for 2 weeks and get back, but still don't kill each and everyone's innovation just by bureaucracy.
Right. And that's, of course, where the cluster pilot come into. The cluster pilot is the one that keeps reminding me, if I have a hard time remembering what I promised, did you do that? I wonder why you didn't do that. I mean, that constant someone having an eye on it, that's what we need. Okay, if we scale out in time, so we have multiple overlapping projects, that's one difficulty, and also multiple clusters. It's another level. And we're going to add some things here. How can we do this? How can we get away with it? And then at the last session, the last Thursday in July, we will review the toolbox, talk a lot about tools, which one you like, which one you don't like. Maybe we try some of them on the way, but it's going to focus on the toolbox, the last one. That's the idea. And the last things, well, yeah, I want to emphasize this very, very last point: the practice of constant feedback and learning. That is, in a way, this is the key to the whole thing: is to always stop up, look back. How did that go? What can we do better? What can we learn? Move forward, do it once more. In Lean, this is called plan, do, study, act, or the Deming cycle. From good old W. Edwards Deming, who died 33 years ago, but he's still massively relevant. So that's key important. So just a few key principles here, and I won't talk an awful lot about it. You can read it yourself. We'll send the PDF out afterwards. It's absolutely central that people volunteer. You can't push people to this. It's absolutely central that we get past theoretical discussions and do things within the first month. It's absolutely central that we start developing trust, and we do it specifically, and we discuss with each other. I need to, although I'm an introvert, so I really don't want to do it, but I have to do it. I have to tell you what makes me trust you. We have to tell that to each other in the clusters. Otherwise, we're not moving. We just have warm and fuzzy feelings about trust. So the centrality of trust, and the centrality, the pilot team. If you're just one person in a cluster, should be the cluster manager or something, you don't have enough bandwidth because you have another job as well. So it's much better if you are a number of people, a small group, 3 perhaps, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something, that can actually do it, the core group that does it together. And it's also very hard to succeed as a single person. Therefore, the team of cluster pilots. And why the term pilot? Yeah, well, because we provide guidance. We don't own the cluster. We don't do the work for them. Sorry, missed that one. The cluster is not the goal itself. And then just a word about certification. Subject to Alexandra's approval, but we propose that you have a multiple choice questionnaire, 40 questions, and then a small written assignment on a specific topic. We plan on at the end of July to come up with 3 or 4 different topics. You can try to write up a little essay on, say, this is how I would attack that problem. That's what we propose at least. So yeah, I guess that is more or less what I had to say about this. Yeah,
and with 5 minutes to spare, it's actually right timing to.
Yeah, and Alexandra has some
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kurt. So, colleagues, maybe I just resume. So, once again, this training, these workshops will be very practical. Maybe I repeat, sorry for that, but once again, we have really big issue in our cluster community because, let's say, many group we try to create to mobilize and to release this, let's say, potential of our, let's say, synergy of our cluster member. Sometimes they fail. Yeah, we can appeal to a cluster for region project when, yeah, during last year we had, let's say, a 6 region group strategic session, 20 people in the group and so on. But finally, we had just a few people working on real value and real deliverables. And that was same in the project, because we created like flow of the project initiative, but it was the same situation. It was not work effective work in with group in teams, but it was sometimes a group of experts, but finally it was in many cases individual work. And this is the main situation in Ukrainian Cluster Alliance. I can number a big list of, you know, resource center, working committee, working group we tried to create, but most of them failed. Yeah, failed just because this is the problem. We don't have really skilled professional who know how to lead the team, how to create you know, this working effective teams, how to lead them to result, quickly lead to result. Yeah. To ensure good teamwork and so on, so on. This is the main reasons of why we organize this training. And I hope very much it will be really like turning point in many our initiative. Yeah, because we need to be successful. We need to be much more effective. Yeah, in our times we have in Ukraine, with enormous challenges we have in every industry, and with very limited resources. So it means that we must be much more effective, yeah, in our daily work. Yeah, so this is the main idea regarding this training. And I really appreciate that. Yeah, it will be many new terms, new notions for you. But once again, we go deeply into nature of relationships, or how value is created. And really, it's what is specific feature of all this methodology. It's all based on trust. And you know already, because we already had this conversation and this in our previous training, previous talks, that trust is the main asset of our clusters. Yeah, there is no trust, there will be no value. So this is the main, let's say, we should understand. So, and really, I have big confidence to Kurt and Robert, because in fact we belong to the same community, which is called name it Trust Mediator. So it's really very interesting. I think it will be very useful also for you, for your initiative, and for how to improve your daily work, and especially in teamwork. So if you have any question, please maybe give us just short comment if idea regarding this training and this workshop are understandable for you, if it's important, if it's yeah, you please give us some feedback. Mike, maybe let's start from you, with you, because you observe a situation in our cluster, like, you know, observer, but observer which know very well situation in different clusters. So what do you think about this issue of trust? And you, by the way, you can compare it with your experience in German cluster.
Trust is the most important thing that's needed to be able to move fast, because without trust, you have to rely upon formal agreements. So some of the formalism in Germany is actually due to lack of trust. Okay, and why they have to be signed off. So what I would say, my experience from clusters in Germany is, this is not being negative, but due to lack of trust, you rely on more formal mechanisms. That means that you're not able to move as fast. Trust is speed, and speed is the advantage you have if you have minimal resources. Those that have unlimited capital can afford to say, we don't worry about trust, we will have signed agreements, and they can take their time. So as we build trust, it accelerates our ability to move fast. Our ability to move fast as individual practitioners and building our cluster gives us a competitive advantage. So I hope that answers the question. Trust is a competitive advantage. It's not a nice to have. It's what wins.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Maybe some other guys. I will just invite.
I have a single thing.
Yeah,
I forgot before, because we also agreed on that until next Thursday, there's on I hope it's not unfortunate, but I hope you appreciate there is some homework. So I'll just turn this up again. Please go back and have a look at those matrices that you already created, the competency matrix and the value matrix. Maybe you want to refine them. Starting from next Thursday, we would like you to send them in, and then we'll make a map of who we are and what we can do together. We'll make a common map then and use that. And the other thing, since we're going to start with at the team level, there's a couple of documents that we call the bird's eye view. This is based on Agile and Scrum. So at the team level. So please grab those PDFs. There's also a Ukrainian version, whatever you like. And the Agile Lean Leadership is actually it's a short version of this book that I wrote, but we'll send you the PDF out here. So that's the homework. But this book here, Liberating Organizations, is about how to build organizations, not necessarily clusters, but of course there is an overlap of ideas. So that's the homework. I hope that's okay, Alexandra.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. Any other comments, guys, who from cluster managers or those who joined us this just today? No comments? Okay, so we are almost in time. So thank you very much, and see you next Thursday. It's next Thursday. We start.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was great time.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.